by the board. Since the law makes no provisions for formal cross-examination, any questioning will be done in an informal and conversational manner. At the conclusion of this presentation, the attorneys or representatives may make closing statements with a reply by the administration's attorney. Must emphasize once again that the purpose of this hearing is to bring before the school board the recommendation that the employment contract of Mr. Larry be terminated, and only matters relevant to the recommendation will be permitted. All right, so please begin the hearing by stating your recommendation. Dr. O.
I think everybody has the board's packet, or the administration's packet of exhibits. So we'll go ahead and proceed. All right, Dr. Olaf, you tell the board how you came to be aware of the situation with Mr. Larry.
Yes, sir. The evening, late afternoon, early evening of Friday. Is that on? Testing. Yes, sir. On the evening of Friday, February 7th, I received a notification that we had a scholar, a high school scholar, that was seen driving the bus, and when I continued to ask how did that come about, I was told that Coach Larry gave the scholar the keys to the bus and gave him the permission to drive the bus. And so in talking with Principal Biggs, we decided that we needed to investigate this situation more, and that based on the fact that the evidence or the report that we received that Friday night, that we were going to meet with Coach Larry on Monday morning, the following Monday morning, so she sent him the notification. We met with him on that Monday, got a statement, and then continued to investigate by pulling the bus video as well as the video from the building, the actual auxiliary gym building. And after the investigation, we found that he was in violation of Board Policy 3.27 for not supervising students at all times and putting the safety of students, not only the students on the bus, but the students who were being dismissed at that time, their safety in jeopardy. And so therefore, I recommended termination because of that.
All right, you have a copy of the board. Did you collect statements from students involved in this incident?
The administration at the high school did, yes, sir.
And are those statements what we see from, I guess, about page 4 to page 12 of the administration packet?
That's correct.
And then at page 13, you mentioned getting a statement from Mr. Larry. Is that what we see at page 13 of the administration packet?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And then, when Mr. Larry was, when you initially visited with Mr. Larry, was he placed on suspension with pay?
He was placed administrative leave with pay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then, was he given a directive about contact with staff or students?
He was told that he could not visit the school and that he should not be in contact with any student nor any staff members while he was on administrative leave.
Did that directive continue after sending him his notice of recommendation termination?
It did.
And so at page 14, what do we see here?
This was a snapshot of a message that he sent to the individuals, the players, the scholars who are on the basketball team. This was the message that he sent to them.
Okay, so is this from an app called GroupMe?
A group me, yes, sir.
And there's a GroupMe chat among the basketball players and coaches? his, message he sent to them after he was told he was not to contact any students, correct?
That's correct.
Page 15 of the board packet. And you watched the video, so you're roughly familiar with the route that the students drove, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is an aerial view of Jacksonville High School, correct?
That's correct.
And does that red line roughly trace the route that the students drove the bus?
It is, yes, sir. From start to finish, from where left to right and north, south to north, that route, yes, sir.
All right, and then I think we have some video to watch that begins inside the gymnasium, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And I think to set the scene, we're gonna be looking at the students gathering to get ready after school to go to their basketball game, and Coach Larry is there directing them, right?
That's, you'll see, the students, about 5 or 6 students standing around, and Coach Larry is, standing there, talking with them about preparation, and then eventually, one student asked if she could go ahead and, can they go ahead and load the bus? And he, said yes, gave her the key and asked if she was going to pull, the bus around, and she stated no.
Okay, and there's audio the board can listen to and make your own conclusions about what's said, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have that queued up?
And you can see, to the right of the screen, the students, and then Coach Larry's here with the, black jacket and the red shirt underneath.
And the student to the left with the white band across her head, I think it's a headset, is she the one that is given the key?
Yes, yes, sir, that's correct.
Let's go ahead and play this. Play the tape.
No, you gonna come to the bus. Thank you.
There you go.
You want me to take it back to the,
Okay, so did you hear her ask if she could have the keys for the bus there?
That's correct, yes, sir,
And then he asked if she was gonna drive it up. Did you hear that?
that's correct.
And she said, no, you're gonna come in, right?
Right, that, know that you're going to come to the bus.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We can replay that section if somebody wants to rehear it, but I think we can also send this video back with the board when you deliberate too, if you wanna just have that option there, but you might know that occurs at about 3:45 and 50 seconds. We're good? All right. Oh, we're doing this.
do you want me to take it back to the bus?
Everybody, we need a stool and, no, I can grab that. I'm gonna go back. Make sure we put on.
Okay, did you hear any warning from, Coach Larry about don't drive the bus, don't move the bus, or anything like that?
No, I did not, no, sir.
Is that pretty much it from this video?
From this video, it is.
All right, now we have, other videos from the bus itself, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
There's 3 views. Why don't we start with the one where we can see the bus driving, and then I think that gives the board a sense of where the bus went when the student drove it. Okay, that hum you can hear in the background, that's the bus being on, right?
That's correct, yes, sir. The bus is, turned on.
And that's because the student started the bus.
That's correct.
I think we could jump forward about 5 minutes.
The bus is about to start moving.
Oh, maybe back a little bit. Can we pause it for a second? Were those students that just walked in front of that bus?
Yes, that's correct. School had just dismissed at that time.
Keep going. you want to do? This one. You want to jump ahead to 355?
I object to these videos, jumping ahead, because I think there's essential evidence, first of all, that been played out of order.
I think they're the same order, it's the same incident, just in different times, just different viewpoints, but, I don't think we need to hear the whole conversation of what those teenagers were having, do we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, play it in, it's all, but I don't think we need to play all of them, because it's the same sound, right? Right? Can we all agree that it's the same sound,
So-
same bus ride?
Well, what I was trying to capture is I think the microphones are attached to the cameras, so you can hear a little bit differently depending on which camera is playing. So I suggest jump to 355, because that's when they talk about, whether or not they're authorized to move the bus by, Coach
Okay.
Larry.
And, I mean, if you wanna play them when you have your turn to do it, then that's fine too, but,
We can watch however much of it, or
That's fine.
however y'all wanna do it.
alright.
But I believe in this 5-minute block, you'll basically hear kids chitter chat. Okay. The young lady was just gyrating with the headphones on. That's the girl who was given the keys, is that right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And the girl in the white shirt, is she the one that eventually drives the bus?
That's correct.
I think you're about to hear when the young girl walks up to the outside and asks, did y'all get permission to move this bus? And then they're gonna respond. So about 2 minutes, Mr. Larry's gonna come up to the bus. curb right outside of that bus.
That's the red zone?
Meaning it's a fire zone that's supposed to be clear for fire safety vehicles if something happens.
That's correct.
Page one of the exhibit packet for the administration, is that your notice of recommendation for contract termination?
Yes, sir.
you just tell the board briefly why you felt like termination was the correct, action on Mr. Leary's contract?
Well, after, reading the statements from the scholars, but also, more importantly, looking at the video and the safety concerns that the students who were on the, bus, as well as the students who were walking in the vicinity of the bus while the bus was in motion, created a severe liability of safety and, just, or overall liability for the district, and all involved. And so, based upon the safety concern, but also the lack of, following the 3.27, which is supervising students at all times, I felt like that this was definitely a serious offense that we could not have happen again, for the safety of our kids and all staff included.
All right, I'll pass the lead.
Ms. Campbell, do you have any questions for Dr. Owen?
Dr. Owen, in looking at this video, the student that received the bus, Jordan Bryant, states that, coach told her to get a kid to bring up the bus. Did you ever hear coach state in that video that she was to tell anyone to bring up the bus?
I did not.
And in fact, in the first video that was played, Jordan, who received the keys to the bus, said she was not going to drive the bus, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So it was an understanding at that point that the coach would come and get the bus and bring it up. Is that correct?
I'm not at liberty to answer that because I was
Okay.
not there.
Well, the video shows, that the coach only had a conversation with, Ms. Bryant about opening the, bus up. Is that correct?
Not just opening of that, bus up, no, he asked, was she going to bring the bus up?
Okay. And it was a clear understanding that she was not going to bring the bus up.
The student stated that, yes.
Okay. And the person who actually drove the bus, was she involved in the first conversation between the coach and Ms. Bryant?
She was not.
Okay. So it's clear that she was never given authorization to drive the bus.
Is that a question?
Yes. Do you see that he ever gave Lexi authorization to drive that bus?
Based upon the video, no.
And when, Coach Larry is there supervising all of these students, should he not have assistant?
He does have an assistant coach.
Okay, and where was the assistant coach that evening?
That afternoon, before the bell rang at 4, his assistant coach was in class.
And so he didn't have an assistant that was assisting him in getting these students on the bus into their destination on time?
Based on the video, he was the only adult there, but he has an assistant coach.
Okay. And how often is Coach Larry left alone with these, young female players to get them from inside of the gym onto the bus?
I have no knowledge of that.
And is Mr. Larry accused of allowing these students to drive the bus previously?
Based on the video, based on the statements of the student, yes.
Okay, so, based on the video, an accusation is made that the coach has allowed these students to drive before. Now, every bus ride is video, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, whose responsibility over the 3 years that the coach has been the coach to review these videos to see what occurs on the bus, whether any appropriate behavior is occurring on that bus?
Well, if there's an issue that arises, then multiple people, either director of security, especially if it happens on the bus, director of security, our director of transportation, administration at the high school, or whichever high school, or whichever school that it pertains to, they have access to view the video.
Okay, so did anyone go back and review the video to see over the 3-year period that the coach has been the coach, whether he has ever allowed a student to drive a bus?
The storage for the video only lasts 2 weeks.
Well, in the whole 3 years that he has been the coach, no one has looked at any video to assess his responsibility, his ability to take responsibility for these girls. When you have a male individual being left with students, nobody is reviewing these videos to see if he's acting appropriate for 3 years.
There wasn't a just cause for it to review.
Now, how did the school district come to the knowledge that a student had driven the bus on February 7th of 2025?
I was notified by the administration at the high school.
Now, is the coach allowed to have students act as, managers on the team?
Yes,
And were you aware that Jordan Bryant was one of his managers on the team?
no, I was not.
And as a student manager, would a student manager be permitted to open the bus door and allow students to enter the bus and wait on the coach?
No, ma'am.
And is that written somewhere that student managers can't open the bus and allow the students to enter the bus?
That's not written, but it is written that students should be supervised at all times.
Now, these are teenagers, correct?
That's correct.
And these students walk around campus, and is somebody looking at them at all times when they're at school?
There are adults and security around, yes.
So was there not security on campus that evening?
We have security, there were security on campus.
And so there would not have been security in the area where the bus was left?
I'm not aware of where the security was located at the time.
But based upon your principles and policies, when students are departing to go on a trip, you don't have security around to see what's occurring?
Security monitors the entire campus.
Now, but for this incident where Mr. Larry has been accused of authorizing, which is a specific term, that he authorized someone to drive his bus, what, if anything, is in his personnel file, his evaluations, that indicated that he's not a responsible adult that takes care of these children and gets them to their games and gets them home safely?
Are you asking if there's anything in his personnel file?
Yes, sir.
There's not.
And when Mr. Larry was questioned about whether he authorized any students to drive this bus, what was it about his statement that detracted from his credibility when he said he did not authorize them to drive that bus?
We had multiple students who stated that he did, and so therefore, we started the investigation.
But at no time on any of those videos did you have a specific statement from the coach indicating that he had authorized the students to drive the bus. Did you ask any of those students at what point did they hear Coach Larry authorize anyone to drive that bus?
I didn't interview the students.
But wouldn't you think that that would be an appropriate question to ask the student? Where were you standing? At what point did you hear Coach Larry authorize any student to drive the bus?
Well, from the statements, from the students, it was very clear, from their perspective, as well as when I reviewed the video and I saw Coach Larry hand the keys to the student and then ask, are you going to bring it around?
And you likewise heard students say, no, I'm not, correct?
That's correct, and then when they were on the bus, that's when the students continued to have the conversation and stated that she's done it before, and he did ask them to bring it around, and that's why she did it.
But the fact that allegedly Alexi drove that school bus before, does that necessarily mean that the coach authorized her to do that?
Based upon their statements.
But in fact, when Lexi got on the bus, Jordan stated to her that the coach said to get a student to bring the bus up.
That's what she asked, that's
Okay.
correct.
So at that point, Lexi didn't know anything about what the coach said. So, correct?
That's speculation, I wasn't there.
Okay. Well, no, sir, we heard the video. The video said that Jordan told Lexi that I wrote it down.
Well, you're asking me for my answer.
Tell one of the kids to bring up the bus. So that's a statement. Tell one of the kids to bring up the bus. So this is being communicated to Lexi, correct?
That was stated.
Okay, so did anybody, so whatever Lexi wrote in this statement, that the coach said to bring up the bus, that's not something that she heard from the coach. Is that correct?
I did not hear that on the video.
Okay. And I understand that, the school district has a progressive disciplinary policy.
We do not.
So when a student does something that's inappropriate or violates a rule or regulation, is a faculty member automatically responsible for what a student does contrary to instruction?
If it's part of their supervision, yes.
That's all I have.
All right, any questions from the board members? Dr. Owl? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
One quick call. Were students disciplined because of this incident?
Yes, they. Yes, Principal Biggs did, meet with the students.
And was any of that discipline on Coach Larry's recommendation?
No, they were not.
That was after administration discovered what happened, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Dr. Oak.
Thank you.
We do have a question for you, Dr. Owen.
I'm sorry. Did Coach Larry report that the students had drove the bus to you or to administration at all?
No, ma'am, he did not.
Okay, thank you.
That's all for the administration.
All right, Ms. Campbell, your presentation.
May it please the board, I'm Sheila Campbell and I represent Coach Willie Larry Jr. I have an affidavit that's been signed by Jordan Bryant, the young lady that was on the bus in the presence of her parents. As a matter of fact, Ms. Jordan and her mother came to my office on March 13th of 2025 to execute this affidavit to indicate that the coach did not authorize her to drive this bus. She has not seen anyone else drive this bus, and that her mother was so concerned that her daughter had made a false statement that she wanted to correct this for the record. And I'd like to submit this on behalf of Coach Willie Larry.
Can you pass that up to the board?
Yeah.
Those are copies of
I didn't make a copy. But you have it.
Well, I assume you want them to see.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I have 4 copies.
You and I retain copies and we'll let them share together.
I don't know.
We can pass it around.
First of all, we have an.
Give us just a second,
Oh,
Ms.
I'm
Brown.
sorry.
Ms. Campbell. Okay, Ms. Campbell, thank you.
The question was asked, did the coach come to the administration to report that a student had driven the bus? By the time the coach got to Maumelle High School, some assistant coaches had already made it to Maumelle High School and said that the athletic director had already called them into the office and asked about the student driving the bus. So the administration was well aware that the bus had been driven at the point that Mr. Larry was at the game. It would not have been appropriate for him at that point to do an investigation when they had a specific game, a specific time. Of course, it was obvious to him that some inappropriate behavior had gone on, but he did have the time, it was not, would not have been appropriate to try to chastise Jordan in front of the whole, team. Cause obviously he would have assumed that if anybody drove the bus, it would have been her. But that would not have been the appropriate time to do an investigation. But the administration was well aware by the time the coach got to that game that the student had been driven the bus. So it was not necessary for him to tell them, because the coaches, the assistant coaches had come up to him at the game and said that we had been pulled in and already asked about this incident about driving the bus. So he was aware that there was an incident, he was aware that he was gonna have to talk to the administration, but it's not that he was trying to hide it from the administration, but it wasn't the time or the place. But let me just say this, as a person that had 4 teenage girls all at the same time in my household, driving is an attractive nuisance. All teenagers are fascinated by automobiles. And so this was a dalliance that these teenagers went on, but they should have been responsible enough at 15, 16, and 17 years of age not to take a car. That's just like joyride or stealing a vehicle. I mean, actually, it could be a criminal act that you take a vehicle and drive it without permission. So I don't think that the coach, in the situation that he was in, trying to supervise these girls, if they ask, look, I'm the manager, I would assume that you would choose a manager that's responsible, that could go and open the door for the bus while the coach is attempting to make sure everybody is out of the dressing room, they have all of their gears, he's there by himself. He should have had an assistant coach helping him, according to the testimony previously, and that this person has been working for the school district for 3 years without any infraction, and that you're gonna lose your whole career. That just seems to me just to be overboard to terminate a person who has been responsible. There has not been any incident where he's put these students' life at risk, and certainly he didn't expect that this young lady was gonna drive the bus. They were just joking around with each other. She understood that she was not supposed to drive, so she instigated this incident. And then I think we learned today, well, these students have been talked to, but there was really no consequence for their action. But Jordan, because she was sincere and understood what she did, and her parents wanted her to understand that you cannot be untruthful and jeopardize a person's career and just lie. I mean, those are the type of characteristics that you don't want to instill in your children. That's why her mother readily brought her up to the office and wanted to get this matter cleared up. And I just think that if the coach is gonna coach these young ladies, that he always has somebody with him to supervise him. I mean, you're talking about what's in the best interest of the school district. It's never in the best interest of the school district to have a male with 9, 10, 11, or 1, but to have a male by himself with these students, because anything could happen. Any allegation could come up worse than this allegation of driving a school bus. And we just feel like that to terminate his employment when he has had a stellar career with the school district would just be cruel and unusual. That's it.
All right. Did you want to, is that everything, Ms. Campbell, or did you want Mr. Larry to speak? Did you have any questions from, I guess, Mr. Larry, go ahead.
Well, normally we'll do this in a question and answer format.
Well, I can question him
Speech.
if I can.
Yeah, I mean, if it's informal, it's informal and conversative tone, I think is what we said. So Mr. Larry, if you've got a presentation you wanna show us, and then we can have a conversation, Mr. Richards can ask you some questions as well, and then the board, we can open it up for that, so. Yeah, if you've got a presentation,
Do we have like I can bring a table over to?
we can use, is it stuck right there, can we?
I gotta get up to the screen.
Have we got HDMI, Kevin, that we can just plug into the screens? Or is that,
Yes.
if it's just HDMI, you can plug it in right there?
So, upon taking the job at Jacksonville,
You need your mic.
well, I'll just let you since, this weekend I had the privilege of being in Jacksonville at the Jacksonville Boys and Girls Club. I had the opportunity to participate in the basketball camp. It was the Ville Makes Legend basketball camp. Now, Jacksonville is known for some of the best hoopers to come out of Arkansas. As you can see, you have on the flyer. It was just a vibe, man. We had kids dancing. We had a lot of people participating. They had all different types of competitions. But this really was a fundraiser, and being able to have the opportunity to give back to the community. As you can see, we had people from all over Central Arkansas. Always got
That happens here.
Mr. Larry, do you have a copy of whatever you gave the board for me?
yes, I'll pass it to you as soon as.
Take it right now, if you don't mind, thank you.
Can I read it into the?
Here, you can hear you.
I'll look on it, Ron.
Thank you.
Make sure it's good.
Is the video primarily about the Jacksonville basketball camp?
It needs to be seen to show that I started on the boys' side. I initially interviewed for the assistant girls position. Because my goal was to become a head coach on
Let's
the
just
boys'
stick
side.
with the
I
video
was recommended
in
to.
case he can't pull it up, and so they know what they're gonna be looking at. The video is of the basketball camp, and it looked like a promotional piece for the basketball camp.
It
Is that fair?
shows us,
Is that a fair description of the video?
it involves the community and the relationships that
Yeah.
we're building. Yes, sir.
Right, all things about the basketball camp, right?
Well,
Right.
it also shows my character. At this point, my character is
I
being questioned,
understand,
sir. and
I
my integrity.
understand, but the video itself is a promotional video for the basketball camp, right?
No, sir, it's not.
Does it show anything other than the basketball camp?
It's going to show, our values, beliefs, and culture.
I understand you
that
want
we're
people to
building
draw
at Jackson.
conclusions from it about who you are as a person, and that's fine.
Well, also.
But it's
that's
from
the culture.
seeing your participation in the basketball camp, right?
I disagree with you, sir.
Is it-
am I not allowed to play the video?
Is it,
It's not anything
Kevin,
damaging.
is it good to go? Okay.
It's not anything damaging.
It should be good now, just hit play.
I'm just trying to understand what's in it, and it's fairly ready to go. Go for it. Go ahead.
So this was the summer, transition from being the boys' coach to the ladies' coach. This is one of our first.
To raise $700 for the Jacksonville Boys and Girls Club, which is gonna be a great opportunity for them to use those funds for a number of different things to help the kids in the community. Now, while I was here, I was able to capture some really good moments of the kids participating in different activities and competitions and drills and all these different things. So let's talk about that. So first, Peyton Wainwright, big props to her. She was the free throw champ. Asharia Simmons was the three-point champ. And then as you can see here, just kids having a good time. They were smiling, the camp directors were smiling, the people that was helping was just really having a good time, as you can see, as they're participating in different things. Now, they got down to it. They did some 3-on-3, and some people was really, really competing. They was out there getting after it, really being competitive, trying to win. You know how it is when you go on the basketball court, especially at the Boys and Girls Club. You trying to do something. Buddy here was getting buckets. You see a little step back, hit the jumper there. Some older guys was really celebrating them. We had people getting up, showing off their handles. So it was a really good event, good vibe. Everybody was having fun. People were scoring buckets. They was getting after it. Even our ladies were able to get in the mix. Nice little run right there. I have a couple players I want to introduce to you. When they wasn't coaching, they had no problems with telling people they were mic'd up.
Hi, I'm Asharia. I'm Zoe. And we're being mic'd up today. Mic'd up.
Alright, so, in the effort of time, that video is available on YouTube. When I transitioned over to the ladies' side, I brought everything that I had learned upon being hired into Jacksonville to the ladies' side. I would like to believe that I've taught AP chemistry here, pre-AP chemistry, accelerated chemistry, physical science, biology, and then also taught summer school. And then I'm on the leadership committee at the school, I'm the science department chair. And I'm also on the curriculum instruction team for the high school. All of those promotions were in 1 year. Also on the JHS handbook committee, I was appointed by Coach Higginbotham. There is nothing in the handbook that explains when you're the only coach in athletics for 2 years. I was with the girls, and I'm gonna restate this. I was with the girls 2023 through 2024 by myself. We grew the program from 4 students returning to 31 ladies. Our freshmen had success, our JV went undefeated, our varsity improved their overall record. During that time, I meet with Coach Hick on a regular basis, in my opinion. He does a great job of communicating and approving our routines. I have text messages, emails, audio, where he has approved of our routine when I'm by myself. One of our student assistant coaches is going to express how she has been appointed by Coach Hickenbottom. In the case, as it was this year, where you have 5 coaches in athletics for the boys program every day, and I'm with the JV and varsity, which is 22 ladies by myself every day. So one evaluation I got from Chastity McNeary, she's assistant principal here. My most recent evaluation, she says, glows. Scholars were engaged in the lesson and curious about the content. While they asked low-level questions, it was evident they felt comfortable, that they would receive an answer. A great way of building a foundation to increase their understanding of elements in the periodic table. That strategy is what I've had to use. While documented last year, I brought up a level 1 complaint to show that the girls need the same support and resources as the boys. It happened last year in basketball and track, and the head coach for track as well. And then this year, no adjustments were made. I'm going to bring to light some of the supervision incidents that's happened at Jacksonville to where adjustments were made for the boys program, nothing was provided to the ladies program. So that's why I wanted to start it with this video to show
Jimmy,
you.
I'm gonna object at this point. This is not about the girls versus the boys basketball team. This is about an incident that happened on a particular day.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to communicate that.
Hold on.
to you.
Yeah, and I think, the board would share that. We don't, condone any differences between the boys and the girls programs. And again, I don't think that's relevant to what we're talking about this evening either. So, I mean, we hear where you're coming from, appreciate that, appreciate what you do in the community. Let's stick to this incident and what's going on here.
Well, this incident, I'm bringing it back to this incident, when I'm by myself, when we have 2 coaches, it is normal, or we establish a routine. Coach Hick, we run transportation requests by him. Text messages, emails, for him to approve our travel routine. This routine was approved because when there's 2 coaches, one of the coaches will pull up.
I got a question.
This is the routine, I'm just going over the routine that we have. One of the coaches will pull up the bus, and then the other coach will supervise the ladies. I can't go in the ladies' locker room when they're in there getting dressed. And they have to go in and get dressed. We finish our walkthrough, which we didn't get to that day because we were trying to diffuse an altercation that happened between our 9th graders. So that led to the time lapse. We were trying to diffuse that to the point where I go ahead and tell Aviana that, hey, you come with us so I can separate. And that was something that contributed to the lag, the 6-minute lag. But also at this time, I just wanted to communicate that that's our normal established routine with 2 coaches. When I'm by myself, our student assistant coach, Aiden and Jordan had served as a student assistant coach. Goes back to when that trust was established when they had the incident where students were stealing from the concession stand. She did not steal anything. So she was making improvement enough for us to see if she could handle those responsibilities. But I wanted to communicate that to show that I believe in student engagement, having a role for everybody, because that's the only way we're gonna get to Maumelle by 5 o'clock and beat traffic. We didn't leave until after school. It was a statement that was asked, did I let anybody know what was going on? When I get out to the bus, I have no idea that a student, I'm not even thinking that a student pulled the bus up, but it is after school, and we do have assistant coaches via email and hero requests that flow down to the gym. Also, director of transportation, there's multiple personnel at transportation. We have 2 bus keys. So what we usually do is sometimes when we use it, we leave the bus unlocked and put the bus keys in the bus seat. Or when we get back, the bus key sits on the window sill. So kids have access to this, authorized, unauthorized visitors have access to this, any coach has access to this because we share it. So I've been helped out before by multiple personnel to pull the bus around, which is, as you see, well, I guess you can't see it on this video, one of the student statements actually says that, oh, Coach Larry paused and was like, is this our bus? But however, I'm in game mode. We're late. I got 2 students that bought them Chick-fil-A, which is, administrator text me, I have their text message saying that I bought the kids Chick-fil-A, but we had 3 students that had to eat. So we didn't leave till, I believe the timestamp is 4:08, 4:09, 4:10. We didn't leave, I have to get over there and get the kids food before we get to Maumelle. I have a statement in here just to show that, or I'll pass around evidence to you, just to show that at no time, when the improvements we made at the program, none of our kids have ever wanted for anything. That's the culture that we're trying to build, because it was fractured when we took over and were trusted with this responsibility of the girls program.
Respectfully, Mr. Can we focus on the incident at issue?
Yes, so the incident is supervision. I want to explain the sequence of events that day. We get to Maumelle, a coach comes up to me, have you ever seen somebody? I got called into the office, this is what the coach says. Have you seen somebody drive the bus before? I tell him no. At that point, that's all I know going into the game. Our JV games are scheduled at 5 o'clock. We have to get kids food. They got to be situated for the game. So that's my mindset. And then Saturday, that's when I was aware that I'd been placed on administrative leave Saturday. And then the meeting was scheduled for Monday. So I was removed from campus. I couldn't do any investigation. And obviously I don't have a right per our student contract and per what's been communicated to us by admin, our athletic director. You don't have a right to punish a kid without doing an investigation of all the staff, review all the evidence, and then we make a recommendation to him. But I do want to read this in. This goes into the just the culture that we're building. This is what you'll see. I'm gonna read this and then pass it on to you. This is our agenda for the athletic coaches meeting, 2024 through 2025. I was on the athletic handbook committee. There is no protocol. Sorry.
We're not trying to build a case that Mr. Larry's a bad teacher or a bad coach.
Well, I just want to communicate.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
if I may. We need to focus on the incident at issue and what happened there, and not,
Yes, sir.
we didn't bring a case of he's a bad teacher or a bad
Sure.
coach. So all that's outside of what we're here for tonight. So Mr. Larry.
Why don't you just,
We're here about supervision, right?
Mr. Larry,
I didn't
Mr.
receive
Larry,
any
if I
training.
may,
Yes, sir.
if I may,
Yes, sir.
you'll need to let Daniel respond, okay? Just give us a moment. Mr. Board President.
I mean, I think we do need to keep the conversation to the incident at hand. We've seen, I've allowed kind of a little bit of leeway here, but if you want to just submit that to us, we don't need to read it out loud. We can share it and read it ourselves, that's no problem.
Okay, yes, sir. I'll pass this to you. It's just documented, and there is no record in which we have been trained.
Okay.
And then here's the, this is the email from the assistant athletic director, Deanna Campbell, that talks about the topic. All right, I'll read the statement from a student assistant coach.
We have that in our packet as well, right?
Yes, sir.
We don't need, I don't like having all these students' names out here in this hearing. I know that's part of what we're doing,
Yes, sir.
but
I won't say it, sir. I won't say that.
I mean, we've got it, we can read it.
Okay, yes, sir. So don't read the statement.
I don't think that's necessary, no, sir. I would say if Scott, if you've got some questions for Mr. Larry.
Just a few. Mr. Larry, you don't deny giving the student the keys to the bus, correct?
Yeah, as part of our normal established routine, yes, sir.
So you admitted that you gave the keys to the bus to the student, and allowed the student to go to the bus unsupervised, correct?
The ladies, when we
That's a
have.
yes, no question, sir.
Yes, sir, when the ladies have lag time, and I'm by myself.
Sir.
Coach Larry,
Good, sir.
is your mic on? Did it turn itself off?
Oh, Mr. Larry, if I may,
Yes, sir.
this will go much quicker, and you'll get done with me much faster, if you just listen to my question and answer just what I asked, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try and stick to yes or no questions, so short answers will be best.
I'm gonna give you a short answer, sir.
Thank you. So do you deny telling that student, or asking that student, are you going to bring the bus up?
Our manager, Jordan Bryant.
No, sir, no, sir.
I do
No,
not
sir.
deny giving Jordan the key as we have
Do- do you-
established a routine.
Sir, Mr. Lane,
to board the bus.
please, listen to my question, okay? Very focused question. Do you deny saying to that student manager,
The ladies aboard the bus.
will you bring the bus up?
I was asking a question. I was joking in the moment. I do not deny.
You
that I
don't
was
deny
joking.
that you said that to her?
And she told me no. If she said yes, I wouldn't have given her the key.
Well, we'll let the board make that decision, but
Our normal routine is that we have two coaches, or the coaches pull it around, so
yes, sir.
when we supervise the keys.
I understand that's what it's supposed to be. I do want to point out, Mr. Larry,
Yes, sir.
you need to stop handing the board documents, you need to stay at the podium
Yes, sir.
so we can have a dialogue, okay?
Yes, sir.
I apologize, I might pause at a moment, but just stay with me. All right, the affidavit you, got from Ms. Bryant. It
I
says,
don't want you to
Ma'am?
characterize that he got the affidavit from Ms. Bryant. I obtained the affidavit from Ms. Bryant.
I haven't seen the affidavit, sir.
Ms. Campbell is your lawyer, right? You authorized her to act on your behalf in this manner, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so when she does something in this matter, it's on behalf of you, right?
Yes, sir.
And she, for you, got an affidavit from a student, correct? Correct?
I have not seen the affidavit, sir,
Okay.
so I mean, I'm not aware of what's in
Fifth-
it or
So
give me any.
I'll read it to you. The fifth paragraph of the affidavit says, to the best of my knowledge, information, belief, Coach Willie Larry Jr. did not authorize any student on February 7, 2025 to drive the school bus, and he has never authorized any student to drive the bus. You familiar with that?
What you just read it to me, so I am familiar that I've never
You got that now, right?
authorized the student to drive bus, yes, sir.
And if the board will take your administration packet, turn to page 4, please. Mr. Larry, I'm gonna show you page 4 of the administration packet. You just follow along with me. This is that same student who signed the affidavit as the student manager, correct?
I have not seen the affidavit, sir, so I'm not aware of what's in it or what's it. I just know that
I
the
have
truth, the statements are not telling the truth.
That affidavit, that's the same student as in this
That's
statement.
name on the paper, yes, sir.
All right. You recognize her handwriting? Okay.
I'm not
That's
a
fine.
English teacher, sir.
Yes. In this statement, she says, Coach Larry gave me the key, and I went to start the bus. And my friend drove the bus when I was on there, and he asked if I was going to pull the bus up, and I said no, and I told him he's going to walk the bus. And after everything was said, I walked outside to start the bus up, and my teammates walked up the bus. And I took them up.